Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama,
Ram, Ram.
Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Today, I think we are hearing from Canto 4, Chapter 24, and verses 47 and 48.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the Lord is super excellently beautiful on account of his open and merciful smile and his sidelong glance upon his devotees. His black hair is curly, and his garments, waving in the wind, appear like flying saffron, pollen from the lotus flowers. His glittering earrings, shining helmet, bangles, garland, ankle bells, waist belt, and various other bodily ornaments combine with conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower to increase the natural beauty of the Kostuba pearl on his chest. Wow. Very wonderful explanation here. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The word Prahasita Panga, referring to Krishna's smile and sidelong glances at his devotees, specifically applies to his dealings with the gopis. Krishna is always in a joking mood when he increases the feelings of conjugal rasa in the hearts of the gopis. The conch shell, club, disc, and lotus flower can be either held in his hands or seen on the palms of his hands. According to palmistry, the signs of a conch shell, club, lotus flower, and disc mark the palms of great personalities and especially indicate the supreme personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Okay, that's wonderful. Let me read that again. The Lord is super excellently beautiful on account of his open and merciful smile and his sidelong glance upon his devotees. His black hair is curly, and his garments, waving in the wind, appear like flying saffron, pollen from lotus flowers. His glittering earrings, shining helmet, bangles, garland, ankle bells, waist belt, and various other bodily ornaments combined with conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower to increase the natural beauty of the Kostaba jewel on his chest. Now, that's a real profound, let's say, explanation of the beautiful, beautiful garments and different types of beautiful
ornaments and
garments and what you would call earrings and different things about the Lord.
paraphernalia.
Different paraphernalia, yes. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Prahasita Panga, referring to Krishna's smile and sidelong glances at his devotees, specifically applies to his dealings with the gopis. Krishna is always in a joking mood when he increases the feelings of conjugal rasa in the hearts of the gopis. The conch shell, club, disc, and lotus flower can be either held in his hands or seen on the palms of his hands. According to palmistry, the signs of a conch shell, club, lotus flower, and disc mark the palms of great personalities and especially indicate the supreme personality of Godhead. So, this is very specific uh, um, information about the transcendental uh, clothing and earrings and different types uh, of paraphernalia that makes Krishna unique amongst all other living entities. Yeah. Okay. Text number 49. The Lord has shoulders just like a lion's. Upon these shoulders are garlands, necklaces, and epaulets, which I don't know what that is, an epaulet. Epaulets. I guess it's some kind of a
Well,
necklace.
the collar is an ornamental shoulder piece, or an item of clothing, especially on the coat or jacket.
Okay. Okay, epaulets, and all of these are always glittering. Besides these, there is the beauty of the Kostuba money pearl, and on the dark chest of the Lord there are streaks named Shivatsa, which are signs of the goddess of fortune. The glittering of these streaks excels the beauty of the golden streaks on a gold testing stone. Indeed, such beauty defeats a gold testing stone.
Hmm.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The curling hair on the shoulders of a lion always appears very, very beautiful. Similarly, the shoulders of the Lord were just like a lion's, and the necklace and garlands, along with the Kostuba pearl necklace, combined to excel the beauty of a lion. The chest of the Lord is streaked with Shivatsa lines, the sign of the goddess of fortune. Consequently, the Lord's chest excels the beauty of a testing stone for gold. The black silicious stone on which gold is rubbed to test its value always looks very beautiful, being streaked with gold lines. Yet the chest of the Lord excels even such a stone in its beauty. Obviously, the Lord is super excellent in everything. Text 50. The Lord's abdomen is beautiful due to three ripples in the flesh. Being so round, his abdomen resembles the leaf of a banyan tree, and when he exhales and inhales, the movement of the ripples appears very, very beautiful. The coils within the navel of the Lord are so deep that it appears that the entire universe sprouted out of it and yet again wishes to go back. Wow. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The whole universe is born out of the lotus stem, which sprouted from the navel of the Lord. Lord Brahma sat on the top of this lotus stem to create the whole universe. The navel of the Lord is so deep and coiling that it appears that uh, the whole universe again wants to withdraw into the navel, being attracted by the Lord's beauty. The Lord's navel and the ripples on his belly always increase the beauty of his bodily features. The details of the bodily features of the Lord especially indicate the personality of God. Impersonalists cannot appreciate the beautiful body of the Lord, which is described in his prayers by Lord Shiva. Although the impersonalists are always engaged in the worship of Lord Shiva, they are unable to understand the prayers offered by Lord Shiva to the bodily features of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is known as Shiva Purinchi Nutam, Bhagavatam 11.5.33. For he is always worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Wow, that should be enough to convince anyone that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, not anybody else. Text 51. The lower part of the Lord's waist is dark and covered with yellow garments, and a belt bedecked with golden embroidery work. His symmetrical lotus feet and the calves, thighs, and joints of his legs are extraordinarily beautiful. Indeed, the Lord's entire body appears to be well built. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Lord Shiva is one of the 12 great authorities mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.20. These authorities are Swayambhu, Narada, Sambhu, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahlada, Janaka, Bhisma, Bali, Vyasaki, or Sukadeva, Goswami, and Yamaraja. The impersonalists who generally worship Lord Shiva should learn of the transcendental Satchit Ananda Vigraha of the Lord. Here, Lord Shiva kindly describes the details of the Lord's bodily features. Thus, the impersonalist argument that the Lord has no form cannot be accepted under any circumstance. Of course, the absolute proof that he is full of all kinds of transcendental features. Text 52. My dear Lord, your two lotus feet are so beautiful that they appear like two blossoming petals of the lotus flower which grows during the autumn season. Indeed, the nails of your lotus feet emanate such a great effulgence that they immediately dissipate all the darkness in the heart of a conditioned soul. My dear Lord, kindly show me that form of yours which always dissipates all kinds of darkness in the heart of a devotee. My dear Lord, you are the supreme spiritual master of everyone. Therefore, all conditioned souls covered with the darkness of ignorance can be enlightened by you as the spiritual master. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Lord Shiva has thus described the bodily features of the Lord authoritatively. Now he wants to see the lotus feet of the Lord. When a devotee wants to see the transcendental form of the Lord, he begins his meditation on the Lord's body by first looking at the feet of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the transcendental sound form of the Lord, and the 12 cantos are divided in accordance with the transcendental form of the Lord. The first and second cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are called the two lotus feet of the Lord. It is therefore suggested by Lord Shiva that one should first try to see the lotus feet of the Lord. This also means that if one is serious about reading Srimad Bhagavatam, he must begin by seriously studying the first and second cantos. The beauty of the lotus feet of the Lord is compared to the petals of a lotus flower which grows in the autumn season. By nature's law, in autumn, the dirty or muddy waters of rivers and lakes become very clean. At that time, the lotus flowers growing in the lakes appear very bright and beautiful. The lotus flower itself is compared to the lotus feet of the Lord, and the petals are compared to the nails of the feet of the Lord. The nails of the feet of the Lord are very bright, as Brahma Samhita testifies. Ananda Chinmaya Sad Ujvala Vigrahasya. Every limb of the transcendental body of the Lord is made of Ananda Chinmaya Sad Ujvala. Thus, every limb is eternally bright. As sunshine dissipates the darkness of this material world, the effulgence emanating from the body of the Lord immediately dries up the darkness in the heart of the conditioned soul. In other words, everyone serious about understanding the transcendental science and seeing the transcendental form of the Lord must first of all attempt to see the lotus feet of the Lord by studying the first and second cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. When one sees the lotus feet of the Lord, all kinds of doubts and fears within the heart are vanquished. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that in order to make spiritual progress, one must become fearless. Abhayam Sattva Samsudhi, Bhagavad Gita 16.1. Fearfulness is the result of material involvement. It is also said in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37, Bhayam Dvitiya Bini Vivesita Syat. Fearfulness is a creation of the bodily conception of life. As long as one is absorbed in the thought that he is this material body, he is fearful. And as soon as one is freed from this material conception, he becomes Brahmabhuta, or self-realized, and immediately becomes fearless. Brahmabhuta Prasanatma, Bhagavad Gita 1854. Without being fearless, one cannot be joyful. The bhaktas, the devotees, are fearless and always joyful because they are constantly engaged in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. It is also said, Evam prasana manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangasya jayate. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.20. By practicing Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga, one becomes fearless and joyful. Unless one becomes fearless and joyful, he cannot understand the science of God. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana Mukta Sangha Shajayate. This verse refers to those who are completely liberated from the fearfulness of this material world. When one is so liberated, he can really understand the transcendental features of the form of the Lord. Lord Shiva therefore advises everyone to practice Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga, as will be clear in the following verses. By doing so, one can become really liberated and enjoy spiritual bliss. It is also stated, Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The Lord is the supreme spiritual master and the bona fide representative of the Supreme Lord, is also a spiritual master. The Lord from within enlightens the devotees by the effulgence of the nails of his lotus feet, and his representative, the spiritual master, enlightens from without. Only by thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord and always taking the spiritual master's advice can one advance in spiritual life and understand Vedic knowledge. Yasya Devi Parabhakti Yata Devi Tata Guru Tasya Te Katita Hi Arta Pakasante Mahatmana. Thus, the Vedas, Srutasrutara Upanishad 6.23, enjoin that for one who has unflinching faith in the lotus feet of the Lord, as well as in the spiritual master, the real import of Vedic knowledge can be revealed. Yeah, when it says the real import, the real meaning of Vedic knowledge can be revealed. Text 53. My dear lords, those who desire to purify their existence must always engage in meditation upon your lotus feet as described above. Those who are serious about executing their occupational duties and who want freedom from fear must take to this process of bhakti yoga. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is said that the transcendental name, form, pastimes, and entourage of the Lord cannot be appreciated by the blunt material senses. Therefore, one has to engage himself in devotional service so that the senses may be purified and one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, however, it is indicated that those who are constantly engaged in meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord are certainly purified of the material contamination of the senses and are thus able to see the Supreme Lord face to face. The word meditation is very popular in this age amongst the common people, but they do not know the actual meaning of meditation. I'm glad he says that. Now we'll know what real meditation means. However, from Vedic literature, we learn that the yogis are always absorbed in meditation upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Dhyana vastita tad katena manasa pasyanti yam yogina. Srimad Bhagavatam 12:13.1. This is the real business of the yogis, to think of the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord Shiva therefore advises that one who is actually serious about purification must engage himself in this type of meditation or in the mystic yoga system, which will help him not only to see the Lord within constantly, but to see him face to face and become his associate in Vaikuntha Loka or Goloka Vrindavana. The word swadharmam, as in swadharmam I'm sorry, anutistatam, indicates that the system of varnashrama, which indicates the occupational duties of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and which is the perfect institution for humanity, must be supported by bhakti yoga if one at all wants security in life. Generally, people think that simply by executing the occupational duties of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, or the duty of a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi, one becomes fearless or securely attains liberation. But factually, unless all these occupational duties are accompanied by bhakti yoga, one cannot become fearless. In Bhagavad Gita, there are descriptions of karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga, etc. But unless one comes to the point of bhakti yoga, These other yogas cannot help one attain the highest perfection of life. In other words, bhakti yoga is the only means for liberation. We find this conclusion also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in a discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Raya regarding a human being's liberation from this material world. In that discussion, Ramananda Raya referred to the execution of Varnashram Dharma. And Lord Chaitanya indicated that the Varnashrama Dharma was simply external, eho baya. Lord Chaitanya wanted to impress upon Ramananda Raya that simply by executing the duties of Varnashram Dharma, one is not guaranteed liberation. Finally, Ramananda Raya referred to the process of bhakti yoga. Stani stita shrutigatam tam manobi. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-3. Regardless of one's condition of life, if he practices bhakti yoga, which begins with hearing shrutigatam, the transcendental messages of the Lord through the mouths of devotees, he gradually conquers the unconquerable God. Yeah, well, whenever devotees are speaking about Krishna and glorifying Krishna, that means that hearing or Shruti the transcendental messages of the Lord through the mouths of devotees, he gradually conquers the unconquerable God. Yeah, in other words, Krishna becomes very pleased to hear his devotees glorify him. God is known to be unconquerable, but one who submissively hears the words of a self realized soul conquers the unconquerable. The conclusion is that if one is serious about liberation, he not only should execute the occupational duties of Varnashram Dharma, but should also engage in bhakti yoga by beginning hearing from a realized soul. This process will help the devotee conquer the unconquerable Supreme Personality of Godhead and become his associate after giving up the material body. So, hearing about Krishna from a realized soul, that is the most, let's say, powerful way for making spiritual advancement. Hearing from a realized soul. Text 54. My dear Lord, the king in charge of the heavenly kingdom is also desirous of obtaining the ultimate goal of life. Well, I guess he's talking about Indra. My dear Lord, the king in charge of the heavenly kingdom is also desirous of obtaining the ultimate goal of life, devotional service. Similarly, you are the ultimate destination of those who identify themselves with you. Aham Brahmasmi. However, it is very difficult for them to attain you, whereas a devotee can very easily attain your lordship. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Vede Sudurlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. This indicates that it is very difficult for one to attain the ultimate goal of life and reach the supreme destination, Vaikuntha-loka or Goloka Vrindavana, simply by studying Vedanta philosophy or Vedic literature. However, this highest perfectional stage can be attained by the devotees very easily. That is the meaning of Vedesus Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. The same point is confirmed by Lord Shiva in this verse. The Lord is very difficult for the karma yogis, jnana yogis, and dhyana yogis to attain. Those who are bhakti yogis, however, have no difficulty at all. In the word swarajyasya, swar refers to Swarga Loka, the heavenly planet, and Swariraja refers to the ruler of the heavenly planet, Indra. Generally, karmis desire elevation to heavenly planets, but King Indra desires to become perfect in bhakti yoga. Those who identify themselves as Aham Brahmasmi, I am the supreme Brahman, one with the absolute truth, also ultimately desire to attain perfect liberation in the Vaikuntha planets or Goloka Vrindavana. In Bhagavad Gita 1855, it is said, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyas chasmi tatvata tatomam tatputo gyatva vishitetat anantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter the kingdom of God. Thus, if one desires to enter into the spiritual world, he must try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Simply by practicing Bhakti Yoga, one can understand the Supreme Lord in truth. But without such understanding, one cannot enter the spiritual kingdom. One may be elevated to the heavenly planets or may realize himself as Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, but that is not the end of realization. One must realize the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Bhakti Yoga. Then real perfection of life is attained. So one must realize the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Bhakti Yoga. Then real perfection of life is attained. Text 55. My dear Lord, pure devotional service is even difficult for the liberated persons to discharge. But devotional service alone can satisfy you. Who will take to other processes of self-realization if he is actually serious about the perfection of life? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word satam refers to transcendentalists. There are three kinds of transcendentalists, the Jnani, the Yogi, and Bhakta. Of these three, the Bhakta is selected as the most suitable candidate to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is emphasized herein that only one who is outside devotional service would not engage in searching for the lotus feet of the Lord. Foolish people sometimes maintain that God may be attained in any way, either by karma yoga, jnana yoga, etc. But here it is clearly stated that it is impossible to obtain the mercy of the Lord by any means but bhakti yoga. The word dura radya is especially significant. It is very difficult to attain the lotus feet of the Lord by any method other than bhakti yoga. Text 56. Simply by expansion of his eyebrows, invincible time personified can immediately vanquish the entire universe. However, formidable time does not approach the devotee who has taken complete shelter at your lotus feet. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 10:34, it is said that the Lord, in the shape and form of death, destroys all a person's possessions. Mrityu sarvaharashchaham. I am all devouring death. The Lord, in the shape of death, takes away everything that is created by the conditioned soul. Everything in this material world is subject to perish in due course of time. However, all the strength of time cannot hamper the activities of a devotee, for a devotee takes complete shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord. For this reason, only is a devotee free from formidable time. All the activities of the karmis and gyanis, which have no touch of devotional service, are spoiled in due course of time. The material success of the karmis is destined to be destroyed. Similarly, the impersonal realization attained by the Gyanis is also destroyed in the course of time. Aruya Kritrena Param Padam Tata Patanti Adyo Nadrita Yusmad Angraya. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:232. To say nothing of the karmis, the Gyanis undergo severe austerities to attain the impersonal Brahmajyoti. But because they do not find the lotus feet of the Lord, they fall down again into this material existence. Unless one is fully situated in unalloyed devotional service, there is no guarantee of liberation. Even if one is elevated to the heavenly planets or to the impersonal Brahman effulgence. A devotee's achievement, however, is never lost by the influence of time. Even if a devotee cannot completely execute devotional service, in his next life, he begins from the point where he left off. Such an opportunity is not given to the karmis and gyanis, whose achievements are destroyed. Well, the bhakta's achievement is never destroyed, for it goes on perpetually, be it complete or incomplete. This is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. Suchinam Shimatam Gehe Yoga Prasta Vijayate. If one is unable to complete the process of bhakti yoga, he is given a chance in his next life to take birth in a pure family of devotees or in a rich family. In such families, a person can have a good opportunity to further progress in devotional service. When Yamaraja, the superintendent of death, was instructing his assistants, he told them not to approach the devotees. The devotees should be offered respect, he said, but do not go near them. Thus, the devotees of the Lord are not under the jurisdiction of Yamaraj. Yamaraja is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he controls the death of every living entity. Yet, he has nothing to do with the devotees. Simply by blinking his eyes, time personified can destroy the entire cosmic manifestation. But he has nothing to do with the devotee. In other words, devotional service, which is rendered by the devotee in this lifetime, can never be destroyed by time. Such spiritual assets remain unchanged, being beyond the influence of time. Wow, what a great benediction a devotee can have by being engaged in devotional service. Text 57. If one by chance associates with a devotee even for a fraction of a moment. He no longer is subject to attraction by the results of karma or jnana. What interest then can he have in the benedictions of the demigods, who are subject to the laws of birth and death? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Out of three kinds of men, the karmis, jnanis, and bhaktas, the bhakta is described herein as the most exalted. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has sung Kaivalyam Narakayate Tridasa Pur Akasa Pushpayate Chaitanya Charitamrita. The word Kaivalya means to merge into the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the word Tridasa Pur refers to the heavenly planets where the demigods live. Thus, for a devotee, Kaivalya Sukha, or merging in the existence of the Lord, is hellish because the bhakta considers it suicidal to lose his individuality and merge into the effulgence of Brahman. A bhakta always wants to retain his individuality in order to render service to the Lord. Indeed, he considers promotion to the upper planetary systems to be no better than a will-o'-the-wisp, meaning something that is very temporary. Temporary material happiness holds no value for a devotee. The devotee is in such an exalted position that he is not interested in the actions of karma or jnana. The resultant actions of karma and jnana are so insignificant to a devotee situated on the transcendental platform that he is not in the least interested in them. Bhakti yoga is sufficient to give the bhakta all happiness, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6, Yayatma Suprasidati. One can be fully satisfied simply by devotional service, and that is the result of association with a devotee. Without being blessed by a pure devotee, no one can be fully satisfied, nor can anyone understand the transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very nice. Text 58. My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the cause of all auspicious things and the destroyer of all the contamination of sin. I therefore beg your lordship to bless me by the association of your devotees who are completely purified by worshiping your lotus feet and who are so merciful upon the conditioned souls. I think that your real benediction will be to allow me to associate with such devotees. Such nice statements here. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Ganges water is celebrated as being able to eradicate all kinds of sinful reactions. In other words, when a person takes his bath in the Ganges, he becomes freed from all life's contaminations. The Ganges water is celebrated in this way because it emanates from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, those who are directly in touch with the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who are absorbed in the chanting of his glories are freed from all material contamination. Such unalloyed devotees are able to show mercy to the common conditioned soul. Srila Vrindavana Dasa Thakura has sung that The devotees of Lord Chaitanya are so powerful that each one of them can deliver a universe. In other words, it is the business of devotees to preach the glories of the Lord and deliver all conditioned souls to the platform of Suddha Sattva, pure goodness. Here, the word Susattva means Suddha Sattva, the transcendental stage beyond material goodness. By his exemplary prayers, Lord Shiva teaches us that our best course is to take shelter of Lord Vishnu and his Vaishnava devotees. Haribol. So all the followers of Shiva should read this and take it very seriously. Text 59. The devotee whose heart has been completely cleansed by the process of devotional service and who is favored by Bhakti Devi does not become bewildered by the external energy, which is just like a dark well. Being completely cleansed of all material contamination in this way, a devotee is able to understand very happily your name, fame, form, activities, etc. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.25, Satam prasangan mamavirya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kata tajjo shanad asvapavarga vartmani shradaratir bhaktir anukramisyati. Simply by the association of pure devotees, one can understand the transcendental name, fame, quality, and activities of the Supreme Personality of God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has repeatedly said, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastrikaya, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sange, Sarva Siddhihaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 2254. Simply by associating with a pure devotee, one becomes wonderfully advanced in Krishna consciousness. Sadhusanga, the association with a devotee, means always engaging in Krishna consciousness by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and by acting for Krishna. Specifically, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra purifies one, and this chanting is therefore recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, by chanting the names of Krishna, the mirror of the heart is cleansed and the devotee loses interest in everything external. When one is influenced by the external energy of the Lord, his heart is impure. When one's heart is not pure, he cannot see how things are related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Idam hi Vishvam Bhagavan Ive Tara. Bhagavatam 1:520. He whose heart is purified can see that the whole cosmic manifestation is but the Supreme Personality of God. But he whose heart is contaminated sees things differently. Therefore, by satsanga, or association with devotees, one becomes perfectly pure in heart. Wow. One who is pure in heart is never attracted by the external energy, which urges the individual soul to try to dominate material nature. The pure heart of a devotee is never disturbed when he executes devotional service in the form of hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. In all, there are 9 processes one can follow in the execution of devotional service. In any case, a pure hearted devotee is never disturbed. The bhakti yoga process must be carried out by avoiding the 10 offenses one can commit while chanting the Maha Mantra and the 64 offenses one can commit while worshiping the deity. When a devotee strictly follows the rules and regulations, Bhakti Devi becomes very much satisfied with him, and at that time, he is never disturbed by anything external. A devotee is also called a muni. The word muni means thoughtful. A devotee is as thoughtful as a non devotee is speculative. The non devotee's speculation is impure, but a devotee's thoughts are pure. Lord Kapila and Sukadev Goswami are also called Muni, and Vyasadeva is addressed as Mahamuni. A devotee is addressed as Muni or thoughtful when he purely understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conclusion is that when one's heart is purified by the association of devotees and by the avoidance of the offenses committed when chanting and worshiping the Lord, the transcendental name, form, and activities of the Lord are revealed by the Lord. Text 60, and I guess we'll end with that. My dear Lord, the impersonal Brahman spreads everywhere, like the sunshine or the sky. And that impersonal Brahman, which spreads throughout the universe and in which the entire universe is manifested, is you. Now that's some very good knowledge there. In other words, Krishna is everything, but everything is not Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Vedic literature, it is said that everything is Brahman and nothing else. The whole, in other words, everything is Krishna and nothing else. The whole cosmic manifestation rests on the Brahman effulgence. The impersonalists, however, cannot understand how such a huge cosmic manifestation can rest on a person. Thus, this inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not understood by the impersonalists. Therefore, they are puzzled and always denying that the absolute truth is a person. um,
this wrong.
This wrong impression is cleared by Lord Shiva himself, who says that the impersonal Brahman, which is spread all over the universe, is nothing but the Supreme Lord himself. Here it is clearly said that the Lord is spread everywhere, just like the sunshine, by virtue of his Brahman feature. This example is very easy to understand. All the planetary systems are resting upon the sunshine. Yet the sunshine and the source of sunshine are aloof from the planetary manifestations. Similarly, the sky or air is spread everywhere. Air is within a pot, but it also touches filthy places and sanctified places alike. In any case, the sky is uncontaminated. The sunshine also touches filthy places and sanctified places, and both are actually produced by the sun. But in any case, the sun is aloof from all filthy things. Similarly, the Lord exists everywhere. There are pious things and impious things, but in the Shastras, the pious things are described as the front of the Supreme Lord, whereas impious things are described as the back of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 9.4, the Lord clearly says, Mayatatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham desha avastita. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. This verse of Bhagavad Gita explains that the Lord is spread everywhere by virtue of his Brahman feature. Everything rests in him, yet he is not there. The conclusion is that without bhakti yoga, without rendering devotional service to the Lord, even an impersonalist cannot understand the Brahma Tattva, the Brahman feature. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is stated, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. This means that Brahman, Paramatma, or Para Brahman should be understood. In Srimad Bhagavatam, also the absolute truth is described as the one without a second. But he is realized in three features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate issue. And in this verse, Lord Shiva confirms that ultimately the absolute truth is a person. He clearly says, Tattvam Brahma Param Jyotir Akasham Eva Vistritam. Here is a common example. A successful businessman may have many factories and offices, and everything rests on his order. If someone says that the entire business rests on such and such a person, it does not mean that the person is bearing all the factories and offices on his head. Rather, it is understood that by his brain or his energetic expansion, the business is running without interruption. Similarly, it is the brain and energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that carry on the complete manifestation of the material and spiritual worlds. The philosophy of monism, explained here very clearly, adjusts itself to the fact that the supreme source of all energy is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. This is described very clearly. It is also stated how the impersonal feature of Krishna can be understood. Rasaham apsukonteya prabhasmi sasisurayo pranava sarvavedesu sabda ke purusham risu. O son of Kunti, Arjuna, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound and ether and ability in man. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 7.8. In this way, Krishna can be understood as the mystic power in everything. Wow. The mystic power in everything. Okay, I think we will stop right there on the mystic power in everything. Are there any questions or comments?
Lord Shiva clearly describes Krishna or Vishnu in this case.
Universal knowledge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
directly. And also summarizes again that the Bhakti Yoga is the highest.
Yes.
As you said, like if everybody reads this, the whole confusion is cleared.
And sometimes people wonder why there's always repetition in the Vedic knowledge. It's necessary because we easily forget things. Therefore, repetition is a good thing. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you're repeating yourself." Oh, yeah, we should repeat ourselves regularly so that we never forget what is the actual truth. Just like these two verses, Mayatatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham te svavastita. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So the unmanifested form is the what you would call the Brahma Jyoti. And then Rasaham Apsakonteya Pravasmi Sasisurayo. Pranava Sarvavede Susabda Ke Purushan Risu. O son of Kunti Arjuna, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am sound in ether and I am ability in man. That means that Krishna is present everywhere. And one can become cognizant of this by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and listening to the lectures given by genuine devotees. Then we can understand that how Krishna is the taste of water, the light of the sun and moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, sound in ether, and ability in man. In this way, Krishna can be understood as the mystic power in everything. Okay, well, that is our takeaway today. Krishna is the mystic power in everything. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada has given us all knowledge here. Amazing.
Any other questions or comments online? Okay, I don't see any raised hands.
All right, so our takeaway today is Rasoham Apsakonteya Prabhasmi Sasisurayo. Pranava Sarvavedesu Sabda Ke Purusham Risu. O son of Kunti, Arjuna, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether, an ability in man. Bhagavad Gita 7.8. In this way, Krishna can be understood as the mystic power in everything. There it is. That's our takeaway today.
Yes.
Krishna can be understood as the mystic power in everything. And that mystic power we are seeing in everything. There's so many things that we can see that mystic power functioning. We may not understand how it's happening, but we should understand that it's actually happening by the mystic power of Krishna. Haribol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.